It's not about the colors on the surface. It goes beyond the land that I have trodden. It goes before me everywhere I go. It's in the way I live and walk and talk. It's the spirit of a nation. It is living in me. It's the voice of a power in me, and now I hear it. Call to me. Call to me. Teach me how to be like you. And still your ways. Still your ways. Still your ways in me. Heal me and teach me how to be you, Uganda, so I can stand and proudly say that I am Uganda. I am Uganda. I'm your child. I'm here for you to raise me. But who am I? And how do you define me? A heart of truth and justice I will crave. Your blood is on all my days. You're the spirit of a nation living in me. You're the voice of the power in me, and now I hear you. Yeah, call to me.
African Life Science, I wrote a proposal, and at the end of the day, it went through. And they awarded us the opportunity to inform African scientists that there is possibility, there is a career in RNA research. And some of you that are already into RNA research must agree with me that most diseases are related to downregulation or oncogenic microRNA, even the malignancy, the cancer, or whatever you may call it. Then also, we also have some therapeutic targets, like the use of nutraceutical, the use of natural products in targeting those oncogenic microRNA. Then we can also look at the diagnostic tool, the provision, because many diagnostic tools are centered on RNA mechanism or techniques. So, and that is why we have had our first webinar meeting, and during the webinar meeting we launched our website. Our website is now visible. Then this is the first physical meeting in Africa. And because there are participating universities in Africa, Makerere University is one of them, because we have Haruna from the Department of Physiology as one of the founding members. We have Dr. Tisibira Desidu from Banana University as one of the founding members. Myself as one of the founding members from KIU. And there is also Agu Peter, one of founding member from Ebo State University in Nigeria. So after this physical meeting, which was thrown open, we would have been at Makerere, but one thing or the other. So because of the busy schedule of our anchor person there, we could not vote. So I decided to bring it down here so that we can rub minds and see how we can form our research groups. Then, after this one, by next month, we are going to have another physical meeting in Nigeria. And in each of our physical meetings, we are going to make it hybrid so that wherever you are, you can participate. And the RNA Salon is happy with our activities so far. And I encourage you, feel free. In our program today, like we have sent to you have it in the WhatsApp group. So we are going to have a robust discussions, and at the end of the day, we are going to form a group. And that group is centered on diagnostic, disease, and therapeutics, as well as this is concerned. So feel free to choose area of your interest, and thereafter there will be a follow-up. And that will enable you, most of the PhD students, to develop a career, the early career, to develop a career in RNA research. And it's very, by giving a background speech, the big masquerades who have been waiting for step in. And I would like to acknowledge his presence. Sir, you're welcome, sir. So on this note, I can go straight to my welcome address. My Vice Chancellor, sir, and fellow researchers, you are highly welcome. We are here today, like I've earlier introduced, my name is Patrick Madabuchi Ada, and the theme of the symposium is Leveraging RNA Research Towards Career Development Therapeutics. It is with great pleasure that we gather here today to commence the highly anticipated African Life Science RNA 2023 mini symposium. Uganda is very privileged and honored to be the first African country to host this symposium. And secondly, KIU being the first institution in Africa to host it. So we have carefully curated a diverse range of topics standard of the power of RNA and the possibilities it holds for career growth and scientific breakthroughs. We will explore the RNA Society, a global community of scientists dedicated to unraveling the mystery of RNA. Our distinguished RNA experts from Liverpool John Morris University, United Kingdom, will enlighten us on the latest advancement and breakthrough in the field. Moreover, we have a special emphasis on empowering women in science. We are very gender sensitive. And you see, despite our gender sensitive nature, we still have more number of men. So that means the female that are here may likely be given something special. That's by the way. This is because we firmly believe that diversity and inclusivity are essential for scientific progress and innovation. Another crucial aspect we will address is the significance of mentoring in scientific research. In scientific research, you cannot make any progress without mentoring. Mentorship is very, very important. Mentor-mentee relationship is very pivotal in research. Unequivocally, the crux of mentoring lies in cultivating talents, providing guidance, and nurturing the next generation of scientists. Because I personally believe that in mentorship, in the case of mentoring, you replicate your copy. Yes, if I mentor you, I can delegate. If I guess what, oh, go and meet Bio. Bio can do it the way I can do it. That is the essence of mentorship. So you replicate your copy. And if you're a researcher, you're an academic, and you have not mentored anybody, you are not progressive. At this point, we will examine the molecules of life and their role in disease progression, uncovering the potential for RNA research to combat venom ailments. We will shed light on contemporary opportunities for career research in developing countries, aiming to inspire and encourage aspiring researchers from all corners of Africa. We will also explore the importance of science communication and advocacy in effectively sharing our research findings with the world. Lastly, we will guide you towards self-discovery, highlighting scholarship and grant opportunity that can propel your scientific journey forward. We will dive into the exciting trend in RNA research. At this point, we will introduce you to the various applications of RNA research, such as in disease forefront, envisioning a future where this discipline drive transformative breakthroughs. Your feedback and experiences will be invaluable. We encourage you to actively participate, ask questions, and share your insights. Your contributions will shape the future of RNA research in Africa and beyond. Once again, on behalf of AfriLSc RNA Salon, organizing team, and KIU, I extend a warm welcome to all attendees. Thank you. You're highly welcome. Feel free and have a robust discussion. Thank you.
Everyone to welcome and to appreciate the presence of our Vice Chancellor, ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Western Campus, Professor Frank Kaharuza. You are welcome, Prof. We are so glad you have given us the platform to have this program here, and we are happy you are here in our midst. Thank you so much, and you are welcome, sir. We are sure you have got so many things to charge us with as we begin this symposium, and so we're going to take your opening remark. I want you to join me all to appreciate our professor as he gave us the opening remark. You are welcome, sir.
Talk, and you stopped me about midday or 1. So I think that is okay with everybody. But let me just start with my own story. I think when I was doing my PhD many years ago, I won't tell you when, because you start calculating my age, and you wonder whether my RNA is still alive. But we had courses, and there was a course which was not an obligatory course. It was a course you could do to get your marks, which was called genetic epidemiology. And it had 2 courses. One was Introduction to Genetic Epidemiology, and the second one was Advanced Genetic Epidemiology. It had a lot of course units. You have to meet a certain minimum number of course units to get to your PhD. And I looked at this thing they call genetic epidemiology, and asked myself a question: how will I really be able to do genetic epidemiology, and how will it help me where I was going? So I decided not to do that course. And so we're looking out for how can we do research that is relevant. We have developed we have a whole ADVC. We have an old DVC research. We now even have an ADVC here for research and research and academics and research. But we also have a grants directorate here, whose job is to help you navigate the difficult areas of searching for money, searching for grants, searching for scholarships. That will help us. And as we do that, we now need to know, where is the world going? There was the H3 fund, the H3 for Africa activity. I'm sure some of you know about it, which was an NIH funded program that kind of helped to grow a lot of the genomics research in these areas in Africa. And that funding may have ended, but there are other people who are willing to support that kind of research. I've had multiple interactions with the with Victor. He's the one who was teaching me about aptamers and things like those which I'd never. At the time he came and he was doing aptamer research. I was asking myself, what animal is this they call aptamer? So I had to also do my own reading. Because for me, I study all the time. We're exploring with him who is doing things in this area. You know, we still get, I'm sure if he has to tell you his story, we still get a lot of stumbling blocks. People don't understand the language he speaks because he has not learned how to translate what an aptamer is and how it can help us in diagnostics and therapeutics. So when he starts talking, he talks at that level. Now you have to bring it down, talking to, developing rapid diagnostic kits. That's what they are going to understand, rather than talking about aptamer and getting an aptamer zone, which is going to be, is it replicated or whatever it does, and then you get, all those things is science for them, but the guy who has the money won't understand that. The bottom line is, how do I manage? How is it going to benefit either in the therapeutic world or in the diagnostic world? So it's very important that we all go there. I think most of you know about the Africa CDC. Africa CDC is in the forefront for this genomic research, which is where you're going to all fall. Now when they're looking for people who have done this kind of work, where will they be? It is you guys. So do not despair, do not think you're going to do your PhD and stop at that, but look out for where is this taking me. And pathognomic surveillance now is critical.
You are welcome, Professor Gehinde, to talk to so many young people here in Africa. Though you have not met them, but now you are with them physically, though you are based in the UK. He has been doing research in this field of RNA and especially microRNA for at least a good number of years, more than 10. So that's the kind of person we are talking to. Leaving alone his research, the most important point I need to remind you is that he has a passionate heart. He's too passionate on research, on supporting young people to do research. He was my mentor long time ago, around 2010, so many years ago. So that's why you see I am here, it's because of him. I had to move all the way from Uganda to Liverpool in the UK because of him. He has continued to make sure that he has more connections and bring up young people in science, especially in Africa. That's why you have this Africa Life Science program today here. It's because of him. He makes sure that he connects more and more people to this field of research. Most important is that this work, he advises, should be taken up by you. I'm not going to take too much of his time. I will allow him make a presentation, and at the end of the presentation, we shall have time for interactions where you will understand more of who Associate Professor Gehinde Rose is. Welcome to address the audience.
Thank you so much, Andreas. It's a real honor and pleasure being here, and thank you for your very kind words. It's been amazing how things have developed from the time you visited my lab, and we have to also remember the Biochemical Society for funding that trip all those years ago. So let me see if I can share window. Maybe that will work. screen sharing. Let me do. It should say towards RNA-directed therapies for disease. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes?
Slideshow.
Yes. Prof, you can see that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So as Dave said, I'm a researcher or associate professor in molecular and cell biology here at the John Moores University. And today I'm just going to say a little bit about the work I've done over the last 10 years or so in relation to RNA-directed therapies, working mainly on microRNAs and from a fundamental interest in skin diseases in cells using external particles. And so far, at least, the external particles are well tolerated by the cells that we have tested without any adverse effects on cell viability. An area of interest is from the early days of microRNA discovery. It was known that levels of microRNAs were altered in various cancers. You can see here 1991, which is IPPD. Most of the marks of cancer have been linked to regulation of various target genes by MET. Unfortunately, however, we are yet to see a clinical trial for MET21 inhibition.
They want to know more. Yes, we can please signify. Yes, we have one hand already. We have two. Prof, do we take them together or we go one by one, sir?
Depends on the question. One by one is fine. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to give the
My name is Ubochichikweze Uwamo from engineering. So, Prof, I will want you, while you're answering my question, you will speak in a language that the playboy can understand, so that I can actually, I can understand fully. So I have two questions. Now, one is there any connection between RNA and ulcers? Is there any connection between RNA and ulcers? That is one question. And secondly, we know that the gene that codes for the protein Helicobacter pylori, which is thought to be the main cause of ulcers. Now, the question there is, can RNA be used to silence this gene?
To Helicobacter pylori, is that right?
Yes, the question is, can RNA be used to silence this gene? That is the gene that codes for the H. pylori, which is thought to be the main cause of ulcers.
Sure. So drop me a line afterwards and we can discuss further. RNA can be a target. So
three-dimensional structure of the microRNA 29A. And so for the RNA aptamers, like I said, 18 of them were reported in literature, and we have the three-dimensional structures, but for a display, we have put 2 of them, and then first the sequence, the primary sequence, that is aptamer 1 and aptamer 2, and then figure 4 and figure 5 shows the three-dimensional structure and the two-dimensional structures of both aptamer 1 and 2, also folded through in silico means. So those are what the results we have generated so far for this work, and like I said, it's an ongoing work. The next steps, number 1, we want to evaluate the interactions between the microRNA 29 and the RNA aptamers by molecular docking, and we use the ZDock program. So since we have the three-dimensional structures in both cases, we evaluate the interactions. So when we find the best binders, we optimize the structure so that we can have good binding affinity, which when we have got, we can now evaluate the stability of the binding interactions through molecular dynamic simulation using Chroma's program. Thereafter, we hope to develop a fluorescent-based aptar sensor, which is to be a point-of-care diagnostic tool that uses the aptamer, the RNA aptamer that we will have identified to detect microRNA 29 in samples. In many cases, cerebrospinal fluid and also the blood serum. And so, when we have this work concluded, then we'll be able to have the RNA aptamer-based aptar sensor that when you apply a sample, a serum sample or a cerebrospinal fluid sample, it will be able to bind the microRNA 29 in the sample, and then we detect, we quantify it to be able to know if we have high level of microRNA 29 or low, and then we quantify specifically. Now, to conclude, the level of the microRNA 29A that is present in the sample will give us an idea of the possible regulation we can have in the beta secretase 1 protein, and that will also give us an idea of the possibility of formation of amyloid plaque, which is the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. We have put some of the references, and my supervisors, they are on the list. Their university logos are there as partners, and then RNA Society, Lesogen, and then African Life Science RNA Salon. Thank you. You can have the whole day to look at our posters at the back, and then we can freely share with you if you have some comments about it. Also, it is time to ask questions. Thank you.
I'm sorry to worry, for so many years in this area, so others may need to learn more about it. First of all, is interested in aptamers. I don't know how many of you know what you're talking about when you say aptamers? Do you know that? Or maybe members may not be familiar with that. But she will explain it clearer for members to just understand. Another thing is looking at a disease which is very important for all of us. Many times, all of us don't know that these diseases are just with us. If you're in Africa, the 2 points I want to remind you. Point number 1, globally, the biggest concern, including the biggest funders for money, are looking at aging. Many of us, at the moment, the number of old people is increasing, it's becoming an epidemic. I don't know whether that is good or bad, but more people the people who are living to old age are many. Now, growing to old age is associated with so many problems. Many of you may not notice it. But you appear that some of the problems are the non-communicable diseases. Here, he is pointing out something to do with Alzheimer's. Recently, just a week ago, there was a big debate in Europe in a work funded by there's a certain treatment or drug which targets the amyloids, which he's talking about. And that drug was approved by the European Medicines Control Agency, not yet FDA, which is for USA. In Africa, do you have one? I think CDC controls. Do you have one for controlling African medicine? I don't know. We don't have it.
I think we'll have individual countries.
Individual countries,
not Africa.
Which is a disappointing thing.
Yes.
Very disappointing. But we need to think about such. We should work as Africa.
Money.
These Europeans can make their own European thing, and then for us in Africa, we don't have one. Okay, anyway. The challenge with that disease is that they believe it does not. They were worried that the amyloid are not necessarily the biggest problem. That's what they were saying. So they wanted us to do more research on, spending more money on diagnosis, looking for more biomarkers, looking for more ways of doing. Presently, what is clinically accepted to know that someone has maybe Alzheimer's disease or Alzheimer's dementia. Oh, my colleague there, he's been doing research there, he can say something about it. Is to do with the clinical examination. So we need these biomarkers. And these guys are willing, probably we shall say we can involve them. The people were suggesting we should spend more money on looking for biomarkers, especially the circulating biomarkers, because if you are going to look for amyloid in the brain, someone is already dead, isn't it? But you want in the blood. So this kind of research is very important. That's why in a few minutes ago I told you, you should look at the problem. First of all, what's the problem are you interested in? Now, if you're interested in Alzheimer's, then we can look for tools like that. And I know all of you are thinking about so many problems are existing. Another thing maybe we are going to discuss today, and which are going to come from you, is to do with the emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases.
Molecules that have specific and selective binding affinity to their targets, which ranges from small molecules, antigens, proteins, even other nucleic acid, RNAs or DNAs. So they are produced exogenously, but they target or they bind endogenous molecules, proteins, other RNAs, DNAs. Like in this case, we are producing an RNA aptamer exogenously and using it to bind microRNA 29A, which is endogenous, to target or to identify it and interact with it for as a diagnostic biomarker. Thank you, sir.
That way, don't make me move that way. Me, I know one sleep for highway. Before you cross, guys, look at you sideways. Me, I know come Lagos for child's play. So I say, them define me. For the long time, I've been silent. I don't run I've been studying, but they think say I'm in hiding, cause they don't know how to find me.
Is what will matter. You have an idea, which is maybe big or small. I have my small idea, we meet, we discuss, and we make it. And at the end of the day, we help the globe. We have another lady, Oslem Chirusi. This lady, she's a co-founder in the biotechnology company. The biotechnology company has been reported to have developed the first approved RNA-based vaccine against the COVID-19 virus. This company has also created opportunities. They have employed more than 1,300 people, and more than half of these employees, they are women. So she has created employment opportunities for fellow women. If I can quote her, well, the quote is not complete, but she says that researchers should focus on the things that they want to change while dreaming big. Next slide. These are some of the women that I have described in the previous slides. They are in the lab carrying out their research. Ladies in the house, as you can see, they are beautiful in the lab attires. So if they have made it, we can also make it. We have mentors, we have role models to follow. Thank you so much.
At Attention, please. Ladies in the house, you must ask questions now. Please, let's appreciate the presenter once again as we respond to our questions.
I appreciate the presenter for bringing women to the fore. In your presentation, you've highlighted a lot on the contributions that women made, both through the RNA technology and the use of the binding of proteins to help with combating COVID-19. Now, for me, I know that COVID-19 is a viral infection, and I'm looking again seriously at this messenger RNA technology that is being presented here today. I want to ask you, what hope does this technology hold for HIV? We've lived with HIV, which has been a very serious viral infection, eating out at man the bulk of the population, and still we have not got a permanent cure. So I want you to tell me if this technology holds any hope for people with HIV. Is there a cure? Are we going to get a cure from this?
Well, this technology, as I have said, has been used to develop RNA-based vaccines. Maybe with more researches, we can be able to also come up with a vaccine against HIV, but I'm not very sure if it will work for that disease. Dr. Dels is going to assist.
For the question asked, it's an interesting question which I've been hearing many times, but it depends on what approach you want to take. First of all, HIV has been with us from after the 70s, but it was reported in mostly in Africa in the 80s, 1986, around there, became very prominent. And from that time, people have been working towards developing HIV vaccine. Actually, there's a specific UN agency, UN, just tackling the same thing. Many vaccines have come up, but many of them have been found with kind of some limitation. One, to answer your question, we have hope that probably we can take that approach. But there are limitations, there are small differences. Now it depends on whether you are going into details of viruses or how, if you can start there. There are small differences between the HIV virus and the COVID virus that make the process a bit more intricate, more problematic. Interestingly, some time back, I was with a certain team who were looking at coming up with a vaccine for malaria. The challenge of getting a vaccine for malaria remains the same the challenge of getting a vaccine for HIV. Actually, at the moment, no very successful vaccine. I mean, people are promising, but whatever promises they promise you for some time and it all goes away. Including, there's a certain disease, now Victor can tell you of trypanosomiasis. Yeah. That one also, you see, sometimes we don't think about these diseases because we call them neglected tropical diseases because we don't talk about them so much. But they have been a big challenge. And there was a team, including someone working from Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, they were trying to look for the vaccine. But actually, presently, they have not come up with one. So, the short answer, we have hope, and the hope is going to come from you. Now it is you to really think of what you can do. It will mean you taking so many hours of research and probably luck. Sometimes it's also luck works. Thank you very much.
Next question.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, my name is Ngema Chelisa. Yeah, before I ask my question, there is hope for the HIV cure. As I talk now, there are about 3 cases that have undergone bone marrow transplants and they were declared HIV free. But serious studies and trials are going on. So my question comes, you have presented us well women in research, in biomedical research and RNA. But the names I was seeing for people from India, in Europe, USA, do we have some women in East Africa? And majorly specifically Uganda.
She's there. She's there.
Okay. No. I want the ones you have presented because these are people who could. There are some who have done different researches and they could have empower us and mentor us.
She's working.
Do you have some?
She's working in the lab.
Apart from you.
Thank you. I fear we may not have enough time because we need to conclude.
Someone was asking me, will you guys do something to do with the head or hair? And I didn't have an answer because we're not doing anything to do with the hair on your head. Some of us have no hair, so but we are mostly interested in giving a chance to young African scientists to be able to interact and do what many of us have been asking. I can't see a single African name on the list. You will be shocked that if we are to put in men, maybe we would not have seen them. But do you think they are doing nothing? And you're doing something? Why is your name not there? There are so many reasons for that, which some of them contextual, others what. Doesn't mean that you don't contribute. But your small contribution is very important. They usually give Nobel Prizes. When they give one Nobel Prizes, there are over 1,000 people who have contributed. Sometimes it's also luck that one name is selected. They pick someone, you know the guys who select the people who be given those prizes. I think another question was mentioned grants and prizes. These are people who are contributing. They can give a name. If it is one grant to me, there is a whole team behind me. They might mention my name. I know of my university there where our vice chancellor usually comes and says, this is a very big successful event, but as you recognized me, you know I've just been here doing nothing. This is other people who do everything. So you should appreciate your contribution and search for the purpose is to make sure that you interact and be able to see what you Africans can do. The unfortunate part of it, which could be fortunate, the idea of this African Life Science Salon somehow had a connection with the members. I think Dr. Kehine mentioned something to do with the Biochemical Society of the UK, because he's a member, and once sometime back around so many years ago, around 2010, we were together, we were there in the UK under facilitated by the Biochemical Society, because I was a member of the Biochemical Society. Then there are so many ideas that were coming up. The question was, how comes there are no African names at the front? You don't see anybody, any Africans. Does it mean that these Africans are not doing anything? Maybe they would thrive more if they work within their own environment. That was the idea. And it is when you are free seated in the, like, you're seated together there, you become closer than when you are talking to someone who is like some white old man. I said that is the Nobel Prize winner. He discovered DNA. You can't even try to imagine someone in the UK working in space somewhere. That's you. I remember one time we were in University College London, and then we were looking at the mitochondria. There's this guy who was working on the mitochondria. If you look at the lab they were in, it's when you are seated there and see what they are doing, that's when you appreciate. So, even you are contributing. The context may be different, everything may be different, but your contribution, unfortunately for us scientists, in most cases, we don't necessarily work for recognition. Therefore, many of your contribution may not necessarily be recognized, but it's okay. We are looking for ways of you interacting with each other and making a contribution. Now, the challenge with Africa, which we realize, is they call it Balkanization. Angela says, oh, I'm from Kenya, you know nothing about anybody from Tanzania. Maybe you are from Nigeria. Do you know anybody, how many of you are from Nigeria? Do you know any, do you have any friend from Benin? Raise up your hand if you have a friend from Benin. Nigeria is very close, yeah. You have someone from Benin? Yes, sir. What is the next country there from Benin? Do you have any friend from Togo? So that's the problem we have. Sometimes it's because of the language, sometimes, you see, I expect, interestingly, I don't know whether it's true. If you're from Nigeria, you may probably have a friend from Ghana, and you don't have a friend from Benin. Isn't that strange? You are from Uganda, you don't know anybody from Ghana, Congo. You don't know, so it becomes hard for us to succeed. But we have now a website. We have a team that has set up. Please visit it. We want to put there as much information as possible. We have a WhatsApp group, and we want to create more and more options for you to interact. And now, the next thing is what the VC talked about. He talked about how, like you are here. Maybe for you, many people have contributed, but how did you manage to organize resources for this event? It's you who is going to organize the resources. So we are providing a platform for us to mobilize resources within ourselves. Don't expect any white man to come and plan for you resources for research or collaboration for what. So we want to find a way of mobilizing these resources and finding opportunities of working together. There's a lot to talk about, but I want to appreciate Associate Professor Patrick Aja. He's not around because he's in a meeting. I don't know whether it goes by because we need to really appreciate him in his presence. He's very far away? Okay, we can leave him. He has managed to mobilize, you know, when we first had our meeting, the first meeting on how to organize this AfriLSc kind of salon, we're wondering, where are we going to be? In Makerere, we have members, as I've told you, but we have members, what members from everywhere, across the world. But where are we going to start? So he took up we had an online discussion. Many of you may be presented there and you were there. Now we are like, physically, how do we meet? And then Professor Patrick decided that let me organize this. And all of you, he managed to mobilize you and the whole team. We are so happy that you are finally around and you have done it. So maybe we can just clap for yourself and for me because some of you are. Next, if it was possible, we plan to go to Nigeria. Hey, if you can buy any ticket, it will be so good. Probably, next we can also go to Kenya. And so by solely we want to go to all parts of Africa. The good thing is that at least we have some contacts from Sudan. Sudan has a lot of problems, but don't worry. Scientists don't have problems. And then Egypt, I don't know, probably we shall see how we can organize. We want to have the whole of Africa collaborate. A lot of scientific research is done in South Africa, but many of us are not members. We had a certain meeting for International Union of Molecular Biology and Biochemistry, and the president by that time was Italian. And he said that the biggest challenge we have, and that's what we are fighting for, is the inequality. And you know the inequality we have in the world is knowledge inequality. That explains why many of us here are saying no. So we want to work and make sure that this knowledge is shared. This collaboration is about sharing the knowledge. And that's where wealth comes. Wealth comes from the knowledge. The more you can share, the more you will know, the more you are going to be rich. The more you will be able to get those different grants and so on we were talking about. So, thank you very much. With those very few words, being given a task to declare this symposium closed. But let me hand over to the moderator to tell us what next.
Thank you so much, sir. We are so blessed to have you here. Thank you, thank you.